Yeah, how you doing, everybody? This is the second part of this little thing about the skins that I'm talking about, and about this is my little model of the capitalist universe, as it were. And as I said at the previous thing, we're talking about three sort of layers, okay, of society, and the bottom layer is the social layer. It's the least important. And then what should be at the top layer, the political layer, it has become the second layer, because what has happened is the third layer, which is the economic layer, it is now the dominant layer of society. It shouldn't be. It should be the middle layer, but it's now the dominant layer. It dominates all the whole social order and all the whole political order. And we all know how. Because to give you an example, like just in Ireland, I'll give you an example. When this whole thing blew up in 1987, at the end of 87, beginning of 98, what happened was, imagine we had three banks. We had Anglo-Irish, Allied Irish, and Bank of Ireland. And each of those banks, their loan book was bigger than the national GDP or GDP. Imagine that. So they had more power. Those three individual banks, individually, Anglo-Irish had more power than the government. Allied Irish had more power, and Bank of Ireland had more power than our state in economic terms. So that'll tell you where we're coming from. So the three of them together had more than three times the GDP. They borrowed more than three times the GDP of our state. Imagine that. That's how we're in this state that we're in. But anyway, what's happened with the skins? The economic skin is the dominant skin now. So you've got those three layers in all capitalist societies, and every capitalist society is shaped in a triangle, right? And at the bottom, the very bottom, you have the working class, and just underneath them, at the super very bottom, you have the lumpen proletariat and the dysfunctional classes. And then you go up to the professional classes, then the administrative classes, and then the government. Okay, and alongside the government, superimposed on them, in the top blanket or the top skin, which is the economic skin, you have all the money and all the power among the super elite. Okay, and it used to be the government would tell them what to do, but now it's the other way about. They tell the government what to do. Alright? So really what's happened is, it's really like a coup d'etat has taken place, a silent coup d'etat. That's what's happened. All over the world. All over the world. These banks, all of a sudden, have developed more power than the governments. Except in places like China. It's essentially totalitarian dictatorship, you know. But within the capitalist order, just the general capitalist order, I know there'll be loads of cases. People say that's not the case in this country. I know, but just in the general order, this is what it is. What's happened? There's been a silent coup d'etat. Now, the way that the capitalist society works is, the capital is at the top, and you have all this surplus capital that these super elite can have access to. If they don't have it, they have an asset base to borrow it against, so they can acquire it. And what they do is they employ that capital in a productive manner, and what they do is they effectively use the working class and the underclasses, but specifically the working class, as a labour class to generate wealth. In other words, they combine the capital with the labour, the latent labour that's there, and the combination of the two things produces real wealth, and the vast bulk of that wealth goes back up the pyramid again. Don't go down. Now, contrary to what people tell you, the wealth does not go down the pyramid. Pro rata, the wealth always goes up the pyramid. That is the design of the capitalist system. That is its nature. It would fall apart if the money went down and the power went down. It wouldn't be shaped like that anymore. It wouldn't have that shape. It would have a different shape. It would be shaped like that. It's not shaped like that. It's shaped like this. All the power is at the top. The administrative power comes down the pyramid. Alright? And the wealth goes back up again. Anyway, that's the way it goes on. And what happens is, constantly, what causes all the problems in society, and what actually moves society forward, is this tension between the capitalist power at the top and the labour power at the bottom. Now, theoretically, what should happen is, you see, I believe that the actual creation of wealth is through this thing called labour, not through capital. The capitalists don't see it that way, and society isn't set up that way, and the laws aren't set up that way, because money, this thing called capital money, it's sacrosanct. It's sacrosanct, and it's sacrosanct because the way its society, capitalist societies are designed, and effectively the way that capitalist societies are designed under their economic order is they are essentially monarchist in principle. They are monarchist societies. All that's happened is the king and the queen have been removed. They still have a government, an administrative, an establishment that runs the whole show, but it runs it for the elite. It doesn't run it for the Joes in the street. We're just money collectors for the government and the establishment. That's all we are. We're unofficial tax collectors. That's all we are. We're unpaid tax collectors. All right? The society is run for this elite, super elite. And how that is done, it's done through trusts, things called trusts. At the core of all monarchy is one principle and one principle only. And it's the anathema of the Republican principle. And the principle at the core of the monarchy is inherited privilege, where all the wealth, power, and the might is given over from one generation to the next, primogenitor. Just handed down from one generation to the next. Alright? Inherited privilege. So you can have a boy who's never produced, or a girl who's never produced anything in their life. Total fucking dodo. But they employ the right people to tell them what to do with the money because their granddad or their father gave them this money in this trust. Most of these trusts are not taxable. They're just big tranches of money are given down. And when these people are 25 or 28 or whatever age, they sit down and they become multi-millionaire, billionaires, super billionaires in their own right. Okay? So that's the situation. And that is the order, that is the capitalist order, and it has never changed. And what we have to do is we just got to be cognizant of that when we see all this debt and all these problems that are here today. What has caused all this has been greed from these people up here, not from ordinary people down there. We had 3 people in Ireland. 3 people in Ireland borrowed €5 billion. 5,000 million euros. We've already discussed this. All of the NAMA money, the 54 billion, it's down essentially to the bulk of it, not all of it, but the bulk of it is down to 900 people. That's what we're talking about. It's all down to greed. G-R-E-E-D, nothing else. These are pigs, these people. That's all they are, they're pigs. Except we have to bail them out. Because again, it's the social order, it's the way it's all set up. It's all set up. So what's going to happen is, this tension between the money, the power, the capital at the top, and the labour, which has no money, no power, no influence, nothing. It's that dichotomy, that tension, constant tension, is the thing that moves society forward and causes revolutions and forces society. This is what brought us out of feudalism and brought us out of dictatorships and into a so-called enlightened republic. But you can see what's happening. There's a war going on constantly. A war going on between, where does the political power lie? Does it lie with the people? Does it lie with this crowd up here? So all this going on constantly. And it's this tension and this power going on that forces society to change and move forward. And that's what we're witnessing today. And isn't it good? Because what will happen out of this is, while we're in it, it's shite and it's dreadful. But lots of good will come out of it. Of that I have no doubt. Because what will happen is, people become educated, people become politicised, and then they demand change. And that's good. It doesn't matter. We don't control the change, what format the change will take. We don't know who or what's going to happen. Change might be bad, it could be a fascist change. But generally speaking, the change is good. That's the way I see it. History generally moves forward in a positive manner. That's the way I don't think it moves forward in a benign manner. I think it moves forward in a positive manner. That's my belief. That's the way I see it. And hopefully that's what will happen today. We're in the shite now, but there is a future. And hopefully it's a better one than what we're in at the moment.